How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet, formerly known as ARPANET, created by we the people, now controlled by the billionaires, something that we must and will do something about. But without further ado, let's move it on to the studio. El estudio con el señor Howard Reynolds, Jack Van Bever, and the one and only Mayana. Buenos dias, mis hermanos. Good morning, my brothers and sisters. How are you doing?
Good morning, my brother. How you doing?
I am doing fine. I trust that all is going fine in that studio.
Yes, the tin cans are up and running.
I love to hear that.
I'm gonna do oligarch's pledge. I'm kind of hoping one of them oligarchs will try to buy it from me.
All right, let's get it sold. Let's sell that now.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the corporations of the United Empire of America and to the economy for which it enslaves all peoples, demonizes and devalues them, passes the profit to the elite 1%, with punishment and tyranny for the poor. Slackers. What can I say? What can I say? Look, we're going to have a great program for you guys today. If anybody else doesn't have anything else to say, I have a state representative who is taking care of the redistricting to get on air. So tell me which one. Am I ready to go? No, you're ready to go. I read that about Mr. Rosenthal. I can dig it.
All right. Hey, you bring me back to the good old days. Can you dig it? Yes, we can.
Dig it.
You can dig it. All right, let's go with the congressman, and then we'll get busy further with the program. There we go. Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. As Republicans push an unprecedented mid-decade redraw, Rosenthal has pressed for transparency and community input, especially after public hearings proceeded with draft maps, a move that alarmed voting rights advocates and local leaders in Houston. He argues that gerrymandering distorts the will of voters, dilutes the political power of communities of color, driving Texas growth, and undermines confidence in democracy. His advocacy situates Texas within a national struggle over redistricting norms as partisan actors test legal boundaries to lock in advantage ahead of 2026. For Representative Rosenthal, fair maps are not a partisan luxury. They are the precondition for responsive government in a rapidly diversifying state. So who is Mr. Rosenthal? Jon Rosenthal represents Texas House District 135, Northwest Houston, Cypress, and Jersey Village, and brings a 20-plus year engineering career in the oil and gas sector to the Capitol. First elected in 2018 after unseating a 12-term incumbent, he has built a reputation for data-driven policy making on public education, infrastructure, gun safety, and fair maps. He now serves as vice chair of both the House Redistricting Committee and the Select Committee on Congressional Redistricting, placing him at the center of Texas's high-stakes fight over representation. Senor and Representative Jon Rosenthal, how are you doing today, my brother?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, look,
good to see you. You're looking good.
You look great. I mean, I've seen you in a suit and tie. You just got off of CNN. I said, I got to speak to my brother a little bit and see what's going on, what you have on your hands in Austin at our Capitol. Sir, first of all, what's going on?
Oh, my goodness. So what's going on is, oh, my goodness. Where to even start? So here's where it starts. I'm the vice chair of the redistricting committee during the regular session. So for those who aren't part of the sort of inside baseball thing here, a Texas legislature meets for 4 months in odd numbered years. So January through June, basically January through the end of May, whatever. And during the regular session, this session, our redistricting committee did not even meet. We didn't convene. And then what happens? The felon in the White House, the convicted felon in the White House, calls the governor of Texas and says, I need you to find me 5 new Republican seats in Texas. So now suddenly it's an emergency item for the legislature of Texas to redraw the congressional maps. The governor and the president are trying to rig those maps so that the GOP can stay in power in Congress. So they have a very slim majority up there, and they're trying to hold on to that majority. And their policies are so unpopular that they know they're going to lose unless they cheat in the election. And so that's what they're doing. They're trying to rig the maps. And that would be bad enough. But the worst part is it's a racist assault on communities of color. The districts that they're going after, they're trying to draw out are African American representatives, and they're trying to dilute the voice of the Latino community and to convert some of these strong Democratic districts to be competitive or lean Republican. And that's the true travesty of this, is it's a racist attack on communities of color to cheat to win an election that they know they're going to lose.
Now, I understand that they are basing these maps on the 2024 election, what they saw as the voter base, because one of the not bad things, I think a good thing in Texas is you don't quite really know who are Republicans and who are Democrats, because we don't register based on party. We just register, and whoever votes in a primary kind of gives you an idea, correct?
That's correct.
Now, here's the thing that I have for you, John. I am wondering, and I sat down and I slept on this last night. I am wondering if things get bad enough by 2026 and they decide to redraw these maps where they have to actually now somewhat dilute some of their districts, this could come back and bite their butts.
It could, absolutely. So if you remember when we met in 2018, I was running for office.
Yes.
And, I'm the career mechanical engineer, left industry to run for office. I'm an anti-Trumper, and that's how I got into politics in the first place. And I defeated, as you said in the opening, a 24-year GOP incumbent to flip my district from red to blue. And this was in direct response to the first Trump administration. In the election right before mine in 2016, in that election, House District 135 in Northwest Houston was Republican plus 10. So the Republican incumbent won by 10 points in 2016. And as a result of so it's a safe district for the Republican.
Right.
Nobody gave me a chance in 2018, but because of the backlash and because of the energy rising up, people trying to protect their communities and stand up for their rights, that's what allowed me to win. And so we went from Republican plus 10 to Democrat plus 2, a 12-point swing in Northwest Harris County. And that's why I'm sitting here in the Capitol building today.
And this is your what term again?
This is my 4th term. So I know in these elections as a complete novice, like I never ran for
in a Republican district.
It used to be. Now it's a Democrat district.
But, the question is, it's a Republican district, or rather, it was a Republican district. They're good. One could actually say that because you did such a good job for that district, they went ahead and they rewarded you, because I don't think there was like a hell of a transition in that district, was there?
No. The way that it went was, we should probably break this down. So when I won in 2018, and then I served in my freshman session. Imagine a guy my age being called a freshman.
Imagine that, right?
Just imagine, right? So that was in 2019. I was sworn into the legislature. So immediately coming out of that, of course, Republicans want the seat back, and they're going to go after it. And that election was very competitive. It was a multi-million-dollar race. Republicans and their allies spent $2 million
to unseat you,
trying to get rid of me, and I shouldn't say I should say our allies, the team that we built. The coalition that got me elected in the first place prevailed. So they outspent us 2-1. I'm still standing. And so that was an incredibly contentious and competitive election. And then after that, we redrew the lines for redistricting, and that really changed things up because all of the districts in Northwest Harris County were becoming competitive, and they decided to go ahead and crack and pack those communities. So me being the Democrat in that part of the region, they tried to load as many Democrats
in there. So now it's a decidedly Democratic district.
Now it's a decidedly Democrat district.
Now, let's getting back to the subject of this redistricting and what you're doing. What are your plans? I mean, I know you are one of the leaders in the pack to decide what's going to be done with respect to the gerrymandering that they're attempting. First of all, do you really think that Texas is sufficiently red to be able to pull another 5 seats out?
So first, that's a unsafe bet. The whole reason that I bring up the 2018 election and how I won in a district that was double-digit Republican favored. Those folks, if they don't have 10 more than 10-point advantages in those districts they're drawing, they're going to be in danger. And I would argue that people are mad, and people are mad right now because they see the governor and the Republicans playing out this political gamesmanship, this whole sham of a redistricting in the off season sort of thing at a time when the people of Texas expect us to be acting on the flood relief, on the massive disaster that just occurred in Kerr County in central Texas. 100-something Texans perished, dozens of children lost their lives, families are torn up. They're literally burying their children as we speak, and the governor and the GOP of this state decide they want to engage in a political power grab instead of actually doing what we need to do for the people of Texas. So I imagine there will be some backlash to that. And so some of those districts they draw might not be as safe as they think they are. So that's the first thing is if they are able to pass these maps, and I promise we will fight that, we will obstruct them, we will use every tool at our disposal to push back and to really hand it. I mean, you will see Democrats in this fight. If they manage to pass those maps, I think everybody, not just in Texas, but around the country, will be mobilizing in these elections. You'll see a similar sort of nuclear option effort by some of the blue state governors. Democrats in Texas have been meeting with blue state governors to build up that firewall. Now, we can't ask them to redistrict their states. They have to do whatever they got to do that's best for them. But you already see those governors talking about it.
Oh, they're ready.
They're talking about it in New York and California and Illinois. And I met with the governor of New Mexico just this week. So it's a thing. Like if they pull out this stuff, if they go nuclear, it's going to be on.
And the interesting thing, and what many people don't realize, is the country has a bias towards the Democratic Party. And while some may say the Democratic Party is in the dumpster right now in the polls, etc., the values of the Democratic Party is what most people around the country have. So, I mean, it's interesting that you wonder if these guys really understand the hands that they have and what to play. Now, what are you open to speak about? What are the options that you're planning stepwise?
I'm definitely not going to speak about what we're planning because we don't want to let the other side know.
Got it. I understood. That's why
to hit them. But I will tell you what's up first is tomorrow. I don't know when this will air for different people at different times.
This will air before tomorrow and very early tomorrow as well.
Okay, so Friday, August 1st, we're going to have 10 hours of testimony in a public hearing in the state capital of Texas, where they are going to roll out this new map that they just filed yesterday. They waited till the last minute to file it. So the hearings that we had around the state to start off this sham effort, they weren't even showing us the map, and they kept saying, "Oh, we haven't seen the map. We don't have a map. Blah blah blah. Whatever." The very next day, they file a map. So Tell me where that came from. Anyway, we'll have a public hearing in the state capitol. I invite everybody to come. I'll give you links that you can use so that people can submit their thoughts online. If you don't want to come to the Capitol and testify in person, you can submit testimony online. But I would invite people to stand up, fight back. So what we always say, I'm a political activist. What do we do when our rights are under attack?
We stand up and fight back.
Stand up, fight back. So come to the Capitol, call your legislators. You'll see us fighting for you. And what we want is we want to create an environment where those Republicans, they already know what they're doing is wrong. We went through 15 hours of hearings already, and those Republicans sitting on the front row of committee are like this, and they're just on their phones, not paying attention to hundreds and hundreds of Texans standing in front of them to give testimony and say, hell no, we don't want you to screw up our maps even worse than they are already. And let me tell you, we had 1,000 people show up in the University of Houston for a committee hearing.
Yes, I know.
1,000 people.
People couldn't get in. Cody Polk, who ran for 127 a few years ago, he came and he didn't come all that late. He couldn't get in. He had to stand up on the outside.
Right. And we had the same thing at UT Arlington. I expect it'll be similar tomorrow in the Capitol. We'll do, my office is always a home for everybody who comes into the Capitol. If you're here to testify, you can always stop by here, or we've got sort of a hospitality space,
right,
a room that we're setting up. This is kind of an auditorium thing where folks can make themselves.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but we want the Republicans to understand that what they're doing is boldly unpopular. The people of Texas don't want it. The one thing I want to add is out of that 1,000 people in Houston, another 600-700 in Arlington, another 200 or 300 in Austin. And we had one person come to the microphone and say, yeah, I want to do this because we want to keep Trump in power, of testimonials. And most of them are, hell no, don't do this. There's a handful of, we want you to draw fair maps. So please do that since you have an opportunity. We know that's not going to happen. And then me and my team have combed through the comments online, 3,000 comments online. And so far we've run into about 3 of people that thought that this was a good idea. So let me tell you, it's just a partisan, political, racist attack on especially Black communities, but Black and Latino communities for sure. They want to dismantle 3 of the 5 districts that have African American representation.
I noticed that Al Green is pretty much districted out of his.
To make that a safe Republican seat with a very slim Latino majority, and that will be so it's going to be Houston, but it'll be attached to a large rural area that will completely dilute the voices of those Latino voters.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. But what I want to do here is point out some strategies that I wonder about. The big bad bill is really big, bad, and ugly. And the people that it will harm the most are the rural people in rural areas. It'll close hospitals in rural areas. My question to you, Representative, is the following. I want your party to go out to these areas before next year, when those things are starting to happen, and let these folks know that their particular current congressperson is actually the one that passed a bill that will lose that nursing home. In other words, here's what I'm asking you, Representative. Not you, I don't mean you, but is your team, not your team, but the mass of Democrats right now, are they doing the research on hospitals that are about to close, nursing homes that are about to close, and all of these? Enumerate them and then go out there, flesh and blood, whether they are heckling you or not, and actually say, you're an activist like we were. You were a part of the team at one time before you had to become a statesman. That's in jest. But are we doing the work that is actually going to do that out there in our rural areas?
I would say yes. I believe so. So certainly from my perspective, your Texas state legislature, the House Democratic Caucus, and the Senate Democrat caucus, we are hard at work at this stuff right now. We've staffed up. So what we did during the off season before we came in and at the before the session started was, as a caucus, we raised extra money so we could bring in staff that does research and messaging and provides us with some of these tools. So this is one of the things that Democrats have just quite frankly sucked at in Texas. Is they haven't been organized, they haven't been unified on message, and they have not used the tools at their disposal. So there's another side to that where we want to make sure that we're partnering with national partners and the Congress folks and their reelection campaigns, because that's part of how I got elected, right? A small campaign in my area elected Lizzie Fletcher, for those of your listeners that are familiar with the Congresswoman from Houston's West Side. We're friends, we're partners. And so we have to be building these layers together. There has to be unified messaging. It has to be informed by data, and it has to be properly resourced. We have to be in those spaces. We have to get that message out, not just in person. So we have to be in person in those communities, but we also have to be pervasive in the infosphere, in all these new spaces where between bloggers and influencers and social media platforms, where the Republicans have staked out an advantage, we need to meet people where they are. And if that's where they are, then we need to talk to them there. So it has to be all the layers. We have to be unified on message, and we have got to work this top to bottom and bottom to top if we're gonna win in Texas. It's a big hill to climb.
Look, as a mechanical engineer, as you being a mechanical engineer, myself being a mechanical engineer, both from the University of Texas, I have no doubt, absolutely, I have no doubt that you know the concepts, you know the math, you know the data. I really hope that you are using your expertise out there with the Democratic caucus to push that, what you know. I really hope so. Well, I know that you are. I'm
a team player, and now in my fourth term, I've been around a few years, and at the beginning, I'm a fighter. I came into the legislature as an activist, and I still push those same ideals. You can look at the bills I file and all that stuff. But as I've moved along, I think it's become more and more important to me to be using the influence that seniority comes with to work behind the scenes. And so I'm part of I can't say I'm part of the caucus leadership, but I will say the caucus chair is one of my best friends in the legislature.
Well, I got to interrupt you. You are a part of the leadership, my brother. The fact that you're leading here on the redistricting is good enough for us to find you that way.
What I mean is I don't run for any of those caucus like a chair or secretary, treasurer. I'm not part of that hierarchy like that. But yeah, I'm part of the brain trust, and I work a lot behind the scenes. I help to run the plays on the House floor. So when we have strategy going, and we're trying to file amendments, gum them up, make them take hard votes, I'm part of all of that effort. I'm part of the research team. So yeah, I'm heavily involved in all of that stuff. And if there's any place where sort of my skills are useful, it's in the data analysis part, and also, just being pragmatic about stuff. You have to figure out what works, and you have to do that. So instead of talking too much, people have to see us in action, I think.
Representative Rosenthal, what should I have asked you that I didn't?
You might. So we talked a little bit about the flood relief and how Texans want us to do that. This special session should be focused on relief for the families that are in distress, for putting systems in place to make sure that level of tragedy can't happen again. We've got this effort by the lieutenant governor to ban THC in all hemp products. We should have some sensible, regulation and tax it, regulate it, just like alcohol. But I think the most important thing to know is that Democrats are fighting for the people of Texas. And if you all will tune in, you will see us in the battle.
Representative Jon Rosenthal, thank you so kindly for having been on Politics and Right.
Thank you so much. Always good to see you.
Well, folks, I hope you like that. That occurred. We did that interview yesterday morning, right after the program. Remember, I told you I would call him up and go ahead and get an interview to see what's going on with the redistricting. Well, today in Austin is when people are piling in to really protest and also testify in the committee hearings about this redistricting. And yes, I think it's LBW. Crockett has been, sort of districted out of her district or something to that effect. Jules said, sad that so many people continue to vote against their own interests. Yeah, but I think one of the purposes of this program and many others like this out there, independent media, is that we are trying to ensure that people are properly informed. I have faith in people, but again, if folks are not properly informed, bad decisions are easily made. One of the other reasons that I have that I think this type of programming is so important. Why again dedicated to this type of this programming? I want to tell you two stories about Medicare. The first one was uh, a former business partner and now a good friend. He called me up and he said, it was actually during my afternoon program. He called me during the program and I couldn't handle it. So I texted him and said, I'll call him back. And I forgot to call him back. And a few hours later, I didn't see a text that he sent me that said that he had a severe case of depression and that he was just diagnosed with a severe case of depression. So I called him up. I felt horrendous because, I mean, how could I not have seen the text and call him back in time? So I called him back and apologized, etc. And the only thing he said is, as soon as I saw your text, you on the call, I lit up and I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "He's a he, I, we did business together, but he's also working as a executive at one of these companies where he has a big staff, what was a big staff under him, and they are doing a reduction in force like many companies are doing. It hasn't showed up in a lot of employment records yet, but because of the condition of healthcare and he works in the healthcare business, he got a uh, had to reduce his people, and one of the people that he put on the list uh, came to him that day and said, a few days, and said, I have cancer. And he felt bad because when he did performance analysis, etc., this was one of the guys that he was going to cut. But since the guy has insurance at the company, he runs to his boss and says, I want to remove this person from this list because he has cancer. It wouldn't be the right thing for us to let him go at this time. The executive structure, of course, capitalism, says, you didn't tell me anything about his cancer, HIPAA, and all that kind of stuff. His boss started to tell him, even though HIPAA wasn't an issue. And then he said, you must release him. And in fact, he will be let go. And he felt really, really bad. And when he told his employee that, he had to let him go, the guy was understanding and he said, okay. But in the process of knowing that this guy had a bad cancer diagnosis, he didn't know what to do. So we were talking about it, and the guy is 64 and about to turn 65, which means he will qualify for Medicare in a couple months or so. And he came to me asking, and he said, what exactly, what parts, what do I do, etc. They're trying to sell him Medicare Advantage. And to which I said, you mean they're trying to kill him? Because if he has a serious case of cancer and he gets a Medicare Advantage Part C plan, that in effect I guarantee you what they see is somebody they're going to kill off fast. Okay? So I told him, absolutely not. Go back to that, your former employee, and tell them absolutely not to take the the Medicare, it's Part C, which is Medicare Advantage. Take out traditional Medicare and buy the supplemental. They cannot use the tables the tables to give you a higher price for the supplemental, because by law, doesn't matter if you get it within 6 months, they have to give you the traditional price for the supplemental, whether you have a pre-existing condition or not. But get the and he immediately, as we were speaking, texted the person and got them out of having selected Medicare Advantage to go to the right thing. If I weren't involved in this sort of a thing, that is something that I wouldn't necessarily be cognizant of or know. And at that point, it felt good that we, again, just communicating with each other, not living in our silos. We're able to have people make the right decisions and not let an evil corporatocracy put your life in danger at life's end. And another friend, the second story, another friend, it's amazing, about 2 days later, called me up. He said, Egberto, I'm turning 65. I have insurance with, I think, the union or something with his county job. And what he's thinking about is, yeah, he knows that he's listened to the program, and he knows that we need to take out not Medicare Advantage, not Medicare Part C, but get traditional Medicare. But he said, I think they told me I could forego my supplemental and just go ahead and use my insurance, meaning the union insurance or whatever it is that he has, as a backup. And my answer to him was, I don't know. If I were you, I don't have the specifics, but if I were you, I would go ahead and get the damn supplemental. And why is that? Even as you're getting you're getting the backup free from your union or whatever, I would invest in buying the supplemental. And here's why. If 6 months passed and your union decide to do what the union in New York did, which is sign a contract with one of their providers for their supplemental decided to tell them, hey, we have a better deal for you. Just get Medicare Advantage and your people will pay nothing. And to which the New York folks said, okay, all right, we'll do it. And New York residents, the New York people who work for I think it was the police department, or I don't remember what department, but whatever county departments, they were going to get stiffed in all having to go to Medicare Advantage. They fought and fought and fought the union that is supposed to be for us all, but they get kickbacks too. You have to be on your tips and toes. And I think the Mayor Adams, and you guys can research this a bit more, but I think Mayor Adams reversed it this time around, but it could happen again. So what I told my friend here in town is that disregard anything with regards to whether it's what's provided you for free with the union or whatever. Make sure you're taken care of, because the way the law is written, after 6 months, the supplemental, you have to go through the actuary tables again. And you don't want to go through the actuary tables if you are sick, because that will make the price of your supplemental prohibitive, which means you will either have to go, if you can't afford your 20%, you'll have to go on Medicare Advantage. In other words, you may have to sign a partial death sentence. And I'm not saying this in jest. I'm not saying this to be inaccurate. I am just telling you this is what our unfettered capitalist economic system do to you. It's about capital first, and you're a cog for them to make money. off of you. So it is important. It is important for us to understand all these things that the mainstream media isn't necessarily telling you this ad nauseum. I love that Jack started with the oligarchy. What does he call it? Oligarchy team, whatever he calls it, because it
Oligarch's
is
pledge.
oligarch's pledge. Thank you, my brother. I am glad that he started with the oligarch's pledge, but more importantly, I need to make a commitment that we tell a Medicare Advantage, Medicaid story daily, maybe several times a day, to let people know what they're really up to and not wait until the time that they're in dire straits, till they're ill, till they're dying, till they're in financial collapse caused by the system. I think it is important for us to be our brothers and sisters keeper. It is important for us to get rid of the ideological BS and be informed. And to my MAGA listeners, I have no animosity towards you as a human being, none whatsoever. My whole concept of simply disregarding this, having disdain for this president, disdain for the right, is because of what it does to people, and not what it does to just a bunch of liberals or a bunch of lefties like myself, but what it does to people. To people. Do you understand that? And you are people, my MAGA listeners as well. And I have a ton of MAGA listeners. I find it astounding. My MAGA listeners, they're screwing you. You have already voted for your demise, and we are fighting to ensure that it doesn't happen. This program is fighting not just for a whole bunch of pinko liberals and progressives and Democrats. This program is fighting for absolutely everybody. Absolutely everybody. Absolutely everybody. Now, the other subject at hand that I want to talk about, and by the way, the phones are in fact open, 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738. Now, the other subject I want to talk to is a report on financial insecurity. Look, you can't squeeze blood out of a rock. And that is what your new administration is doing. And what is very powerful about it is how effective they are and how they know how to do it. I don't want to speak on tariffs specifically today, but I want to mention how tariff bleeds you. The president passed a $1 trillion cut to Medicaid. Many of my folks on the right don't want to believe that their Führer did that to them. Well, sorry, he did. He did. And it's not only to Medicaid, it's to those of you who go to the exchange every year for your health insurance. You're losing your subsidies. You will see, it won't be too long before you start to see some of that. So I will be expecting some of you to call and say, wow, I guess you guys were actually right about what they're doing. But anyway, subsidies will be cut. So he's cutting $1 trillion from Medicaid, but it's not only Medicaid that is going to get affected. It's going to be also those on the exchanges. It's going to be people with private insurance that see those rates skyrocket. It is going to be those of you who work for employers who give you your benefits that will be going, as a lot of these will cause your prices to go up. And all of that comes because you can't get something for nothing. The rich people can't get their tax cuts unless, based on how our system works, they take it out of your hide. And that's what they're doing. And tariffs, believe it or not, is a part of it. At one point, from many countries, and by the way, I used to import motherboards. I designed a motherboard, not a motherboard, a communication board that was built in Taiwan. And when that board comes in, I paid like 1 point something percent tariff on that board. So that's the kind of tariffs we used to talk about, issues like that. Donald Trump zoomed tariffs up to 25% so that now that he's making deals, supposedly, not deals, just throwing it out. He's putting tariffs at 15%. So you think, oh, I got a break. It's no longer 25% on the tariff. It is now only 15%. But you know what? That's more than 10 times what the tariff was before. All right, so these are the cons that are going on here. But the worst part of that con is that when he talks about tariff on China, tariff on all these other things, and he said, we're collecting billions of dollars in tariffs from these countries. That is a patent verifiable lie. Your Führer is lying to you. Those billions that he's collecting is actually a tax increase on all of you poor people, all of you middle class people, all of you MAGAs, all of you Libbies, all of you. That is a tax on you all. So the billions that he's collecting is something that he's collecting without calling it that I've increased your taxes. So if you remember when we spoke about the tax cuts that he gave, he wanted to say that everybody got a tax cut, and he told the truth, except for the bottom 20% who ultimately pays $750 more a year. But everybody got a tax cut. But the tariffs alone eat up all the tax cuts of most people. The tariffs alone eat up most of the tax cuts of most people. And that doesn't count the increase in costs of your health care. That doesn't count the increase in costs of many other things not tariffed. So what you need to understand is the way that these guys have learned to operate is, first, remove your ability to critically think. That's why they go after that's why they go after books. That's why they go after what they frame as critical theory. That's why they go against all those things. They need to remove your ability to critically think. Because if you critically think, you do not realize that that a tariff is a tax not on the country, but a tax on you. So I can give a tax cut to the rich people. I can give you a nominal tax cut, but I can take it right back away by just having a tariff. And since a tariff isn't called a tax, it's called a tariff, you don't realize that you're actually getting taxed, and taxed at a higher percentage than any wealthy person would get. Now, we also had Besant go on TV and talked about the policy of giving $1,000 to every child born within the next 3 years. And they did it for 3 years because that's a term that it'll be under with Trump. But they would expect it to be extended with another. They'll use it as a selling point to elect another Republican president because they'll extend this. Of course, it's a farce. Because while they're going to give you $1,000 for your kid, nothing different than, let's say, an employment income tax credit or something like that. Even though they're going to give you that $1,000, they tell you you can put up to $5,000 every year into that account, and that account can grow exponentially, which is how taxes work, right? I mean, which is how interest growth works. But the fact of the matter is, when Besant goes out and he says this is a backdoor to privatizing Social Security, because the expectation is going to be when rich people put that $5,000 every year in that account, they're going to show how that account can, assuming the stock market continues to go up, how that account improves those people who are able to put $5,000 in that account for their children every year is going to say, look how money grows. Look how, you get money to grow in that way. The problem is the following. The people who would need it the most, don't have $5,000 to put into the account. So in effect, what they're planning on doing is buying your vote for $1,000. Buy your vote for $1,000, but that $1,000 is made many times over by the wealthy person who can deposit $5,000 into that account tax free, until that kid is 18. I want you to go ahead and use your amortization tables and see how this money grows. $5,000 a year for 18 years. You are going to be impressed why he says the privatization of Social Security. But the subject at hand is people are feeling financially insecure. And why is that? 48% of them say if they get a $500 bill, they have to borrow. They couldn't do it. Most say that if they get over 6 or 7%, they can't handle it. We are in dire straits, folks. We are in dire straits. And the reason we don't see it is that Americans suffer in silence. As many Americans are going through things, I told you the story a few days ago about a neighbor I didn't know was going through páramo, going through hell. And she just happened to stop by, and it's like, my God, we've been here for decades together, and we didn't know that was happening. We didn't know that was happening. Americans know how to suffer in silence. Rugged individualism is what they teach you. They teach you to be a rugged individualism. If you start to act collectively, if you want to work as a social being in an economic system, they want to call you a communist. You see, they train you. Rugged individualism is what you trained as. If you're a rugged individual, when you are in pain, when you are in financial pain, you don't seek to tell. So the rest doesn't know that you're in financial pain and you suffer because you're a rugged individual. And you don't get together to figure out exactly the problem. Only together can you solve the problem of those who are harming you. Only together you can do that. But if you're a rugged individual, you suffer in pain. And they depend on you suffering in pain for the system to maintain its evil. Because if we get together, we would make the system right. We will ensure that those who are taken from us, those who are attacking us financially, economically, those millionaires and billionaires who have not earned it, but made it on our backs, we would work together to handle that. But the rugged individual cannot. Folks, the reason we do this program is to inform, to ensure that you critically think. Whenever they talk to you about those being woke, they understand what they want. They don't want you woke. They want you asleep. To which I say, get woke. I am a proud woke. I'm a proud progressive. I'm a proud pinko liberal. I'm a proud lefty. Because we stand for morality. We stand for humanity. We stand for what is right. Let's go to Uju, line number 2.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, my friend. Talk to me.
It's so comical how this regime is. I'd give it to them if they were creative, but they're not. This whole Trump account. When I heard about it, I was like, wait a minute. That's like telling people, oh yeah, it's basically a 529 account or a Roth IRA account. I mean, I was just like,
yes.
What? I was like, it's not even original. I just find it so comical that people who not to any fault of their own, some people, of course, but some people not to any fault of their own who are uneducated, not to say that they didn't go to school officially, but I heard it and I was like, that's a 529 account. That's
yes.
a Roth IRA. Like, are you serious?
Yes.
People who,
Yes.
like $1,000, it's $1,000. You think about it, it's not even $1,000 a month. There's people who are going to be putting 5,000. They can afford many times over. So this is going to be another avenue of ways that they can essentially park money for their children and their generation. So like, don't get fooled, people, because it's not $1,000 a month. If it was $1,000 a month, I would say, okay, wow, that's original. That's a fresh new idea. It's $1,000 a year. Think
No,
about it.
no, it's worse. No. It's the government puts in $1,000, period. That's it. They're buying you for $1,000.
Exactly. And I'm just like, wait, those people who are going to be put in the 5,000, trust me when I tell you, they already have 529 for their kids.
Exactly.
They already have Roth IRA for their kids through their businesses. This is
Yes.
just going to be another way that they can park money for their kids. And unfortunately, those people who don't even have $400 for emergency funds are going to say, oh my God, $1,000. You are being duped. This is not
Yeah.
original, people. Like, it's just so sad because, like, it's one thing if they were literally original with their ideas. They are not original with their ideas. And then talk about those people who Social Security is their way for survival benefits for their kids. And what is that $1,000 going to do? $1,000 will not even get you anything as far as groceries nowadays. Like for a family of, let's say, 5 or whatever. Like, I just find it so comical. So anyway, I just wanted to say that everyone have a great weekend. And don't suffer in silence, because chances are whatever it is you're going through, someone out there is going through the same thing.
Amen.
I just feel like we have to, unfortunately, Americans have to start now building community, because this rugged individual method has not worked. Literally has not worked. And we keep on doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Maybe we are insane in this country. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But anyway.
Thank you, Uju. Got to go.
Okay.
Thank you, sis.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, I'm going to have to limit it to 30 seconds because we're really out of time. All right, Jimmy, come on in, brother Jimmy.
Yeah, last night I went to the West Houston Democrats meeting, and Joe Jaworski was speaking. He's running for Texas Attorney General. He's an attorney, and he's been mayor of Galveston. He is an outstanding speaker, and he'll be replacing Ken Paxton as the Attorney General of Texas. I urge everybody to pay attention to Joe Jaworski running for Texas Attorney General. He's an outstanding speaker, and I think he'll make a great Attorney General.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you very much. I met him. Good guy. Talk to you tomorrow, Jimmy. Let's go to Donald. Come on in, Donald. 30 seconds.
Hey, good morning, Alberto. Your little micro holiday did you good. You need to take a break every once in a while. And did you listen to any music while you were on your road trip?
Sure did. I sure did. A lot of good music. Mucha salsa, hermano.
Very good. No, that's about it. I'll call back on Monday with what I had for you. But you have a good weekend. Stay safe. And you got to take a break every once in a while. But you're on fire this week. Good job.
I appreciate you, brother. Have a good one. Let's go to Brother John. Brother John from Minnesota. 30 seconds.
Yeah, I just wanted to say your show is great, and keep up the good work. And also, I want to say, look at the root words: communism or community, socialism, or you could say, oh, this person is antisocial. Those epitaphs that they throw, that's not an epitaph. I say fascism, Nazism, killing everybody outside of the country that you live in, colonialism. You know, we've done that. We are through with that. We want to move on. That's
John, thank you, my dear brother. Appreciate you. Let's go, Brother Brian. Come on in. 30 seconds.
Good morning. I hope everyone has a good weekend. How much dollars has now been projected to be pumped into the U.S. economy due to overseas investments? It's in the tune of $12 trillion. Rolls-Royce is going to be made here in the United States now. Okay? $12 trillion in investment in manufacturing systems here in the United States due to the tariffs imposed by Trump. You need to get your facts straight.
You
Don't
know,
try to
actually, what you need, my dear brother,
don't-
what you need to do is read, because what you
don't
just said
try
was
to.
hogwash. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, sir. That is a mind that doesn't have the ability to critically think. I mean, if you think other countries are going to throw $12 trillion into America and not their own country, you're dreaming. They don't do enough business. Just that at face value should 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 have a laugh line under it. Think about it. $12 trillion from other countries in the United States. It is, look, the belief, to believe that, give anyway. Let me go to the studio because I want them to get their time. Studio, my dear brothers and sisters.
Hey, we're here. I just actually had a question about when you were talking about the redistricting with Jasmine Crockett. Like, so she's
Hmm.
out of her district, so that would make it so that she can't re
No,
she
no, she
can't
can run. She can either, no, she can stay where she's
because
at.
she's no longer right.
She can stay
But
where
she
she's
can't
at.
run after because
No,
it'll be a
she
different district. She's no longer in it.
no, she can run. She just filed for the district that she lives in. But what they really mean is that that district is likely now a Republican leaning district. So she would likely lose the district that she is currently redistricted into. So her address stays the same. Okay?
Okay.
Let's say Justine live on Trinity Avenue. All right. Instead of Trinity Avenue being in District 30, it is now in District 31. So what Justine
Right.
would just do is file to run in District 31. But guess what they did? District 31 is now Republican, so she's likely to lose it. She can move
Right.
back into District 30, and maybe if it's still possible, she'll just have to move into that district and again run into the new district. And they do that all the time. But I don't I think they can find themselves in some trouble with this one, but we'll see.
Okay. Thanks for the explanation.
Anything
Uh,
else?
yeah,
Yeah, brother.
yeah. When they offer you free money, beware.
Amen. 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 I mean, nothing is free. And by the way, no matter which party does it, okay? What we have to do is look at dot the I's and cross the T's. We have to be aware. We have just got to be aware. But anyway, folks, the rest of the program, and there's a lot more to what we were talking about, is at politicsandright.com/newsletter, politicsandright.com/newsletter. You can write me directly at kpft at politicsandright.com, kpft at politicsandright.com. Love you all. Do not believe anything when you hear about in foreign countries investing trillions in America. It's a lie. It's a lie. No matter how they turn it, it's a lie. No country that is going to invest in another country and put its own people at peril. It's not possible or practical. Anyway, folks, my name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!